American flag.
Yes, over there.
I couldn't
Yes,
say
over there.
Greenwood, and the whole, these younger folks, they like the big city.
Mom says we're good whenever you are, Dr. Green.
Okay.
You know you might have to get ill.
All right. So I guess the mic's off.
London.
Excuse me, we'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Let it gavel. Hello.
Hello. Well, thank you so much for everybody being here. It's great to have a full house, and I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. And first up, we have a student-led invocation. We have Bailey Brinson.
Please stand and bow your head.
Dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for this meeting and giving us the chance to work, learn, and grow together. Please help the school board make choices that will be best for our school community. Always being respectful and kind to each other. Lord, bless each school board member today and fill them with your wisdom. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is the affirmation of the agenda. It's all been emailed to you, and does anybody have any changes, corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Passes. Next is approval of the minutes from our last meeting, from our budget workshop, and then also from our April monthly meeting minutes. Are there any changes or additions to those?
I'll make a motion that we approve the budget workshop minutes and the regular board minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, board comments. Anything to? Public comments. And next is recognition. So one of the most fun parts of the agenda. So we're going to have part of the Wildcat Awards.
Good evening. Our staff at 96 Primary School has the opportunity each month to vote on and recognize a Teacher of the Month and Staff Member of the Month. The character word we chose to focus on for the month of May is cooperation and teamwork. Our Teacher of the Month is Miss Doris Loudon, and our Staff Member of the Month is Miss Troxy Minyard. And if you two ladies could come up together. Miss Doris and Miss Troxy work with our parents and families within Greenwood District 52. These two ladies are behind-the-scenes workers, meaning you may not see what they do on a day-to-day basis, but their impact for our district is tremendous. Their job titles as parenting coordinator and parenting coordinator assistant, but they do so much more. They are often the first relationships that are built within our primary school families. These relationships last through the years as students move through each of our schools towards graduation. Ms. Doris and Ms. Troxy conduct home visits where they get to know our students, parents, and their siblings. They continue to assist these students through one-on-one sessions at school to increase academic achievement. Ms. Doris works closely with me and the other principals to continue to improve our attendance within our district. Ms. Doris is retiring this year after many years of service to our district. I told her I wouldn't tell how many years of service. We get to keep Ms. Troxy just a little while longer. We hope that both of these ladies know the positive impact that they have made on our district by creating relationships and being the bridge for so many years between our schools and families. Thank you, ladies.
Good evening. At 96 Elementary, we have adopted life traits that coincide with the profile of a South Carolina graduate. Each month, we recognize students and staff members who exhibit life traits that set our school up for success. This month, our life trait was communication. Our staff voted Tracy Reynolds as our Teacher of the Month. She's actually been recognized twice this year. We're proud to recognize Tracy Reynolds as our Teacher of the Month for her outstanding dedication, reliability, and exceptional communication skills with colleagues, students, and parents. As our devoted media specialist, Ms. Reynolds plays a vital role in creating an inclusive, engaging, and well-organized learning environment at 96 Elementary School. Throughout the year, Ms. Reynolds curates a wide range of enriching activities in the library to meet the diverse interests of our students, from organizing exciting events like our Scholastic Book Fair, AR celebrations, to coordinating hands-on STEM activities. She ensures that the Media Center remains a vibrant hub of curiosity and learning. Her dependability shines through her consistent library checkout schedule, and when changes arise, she communicates promptly and clearly with staff. Her flexibility and thoughtful planning makes it easier for teachers and students to stay on track without disruption. Ms. Reynolds is also an essential bridge between our school and wider community. As the school's webmaster, she keeps our website and social media platforms up to date regularly by sharing the many wonderful things happening at our school with our parents and school members. Through her hard work, creativity, and outstanding communication skills, Ms. Reynolds has transformed the Media Center and school into a space where reading, discovery, and collaboration thrive. We are incredibly grateful for her continued dedication and the positive impact that she makes each day. Thank you, Ms. Reynolds, for all you do for 96 Elementary School. Our support staff member of the month was Ms. Cheryl Smith. We're proud to recognize Ms. Cheryl Smith as our support staff member of the month. As our school's dedicated guidance secretary, Ms. Smith exemplifies excellence in communication, organization, and attention to detail. Ms. Smith plays a vital role in supporting our school community. She ensures that teachers, students, and families stay informed and aligned, particularly when it comes to promoting and maintaining school attendance. Her communication skills are key in keeping everyone on track. Her responsibilities are wide-ranging and essential, from assisting with the front office operations, maintaining accurate attendance records, to handling student enrollment, records transfers, and grading reporting. Ms. Smith does it all with professionalism and care. She also ensures that student schedules and codings are accurately entered into PowerSchool, a critical task tied to our school's funding. What sets Ms. Smith apart is not only her efficiency and reliability, but also her willingness to go above and beyond to support her colleagues and our students. Her ability to communicate clearly, promptly, makes her a significant impact on the daily operations of our school. We are incredibly fortunate to have Ms. Smith on our team. Her dedication, expertise, and strong communication makes her an invaluable member of our school community.
Good evening. The heart of the Wildcat characteristic word tonight for EMS is courageous. Courageous is often defined when an employee doesn't feel deterred or by challenges or difficulties at work. They take on projects or tasks that may be out of their comfort zone and require a lot of work, but they end up getting the job done. They also are willing to take risks in the workplace and share ideas. Our first candidate tonight that represents being courageous and is our support staff of the month. Ms. Callahan has taken on many challenges this year in our school. She has taken on such challenges as the 8th grade ball, character posters around the school, pep rallies, and many others that I can't name. She is constantly coming up with ideas for fundraisers and ideas for our students to do at Edgewood. Although all of these ideas don't go through, her courage and to present these ideas does not go unnoticed. The first big accomplishment this year was she did a class presentation with her class, and they all did parts of the presentation to present a pep rally to me on the different parts of a pep rally. So some kids were coming up with the different music, and they had to present the music. Some kids were coming up with the different games, and they had to present games. So I thought that was a neat way to get the students involved in planning a pep rally. The second huge accomplishment was putting on our 8th grade ball under such a tight budget. It's difficult to borrow money from me to put on anything at the school, so she did a really good job of having hat days and all different kind of things to provide food and everything, the music that we needed for the 8th grade ball. So she did a really good job with that. We are thrilled to honor Ms. Callahan tonight as our Heart of the Wildcat. The next is our Teacher of the Month. Miss Owens, she is a complete team player. She has made courageous sacrifices this year and stepped out of her comfort zone many times. Maybe one too many times when she was dissecting squids with the 6th grade and we almost lost her when she got squid stuff on her and we thought we were going to have to send her home. But beyond that, she did a good job with that dissecting. She is always excited to come to work with her students feel her energy and excitement in class. This year, as teacher vacancies approached in our district, she also agreed to take state examinations to get certified in other subjects to be an ultimate team player. This type of sacrifice just shows you what kind of team player she is. She also does a great job of communicating with parents and making every student that comes through her class feel special. We are so thankful to have her as our 6th grade English teacher next year and look forward to the excitement and energy that she can bring to our English department. Congratulations, Ms. Owens.
Good evening. At 96 High School, our character trait of the month is committed. Being committed means showing dedication and loyalty to a cause, task, or purpose. A committed individual consistently follows through on responsibilities, puts in sustained effort, and stays true to their goals and values, even when faced with challenges. Why is commitment important at 96 High School? Number one, student success. Committed students stay focused, complete their assignments, prepare for assessments, and seek continuous improvement. This dedication leads to stronger academic performance and personal growth. Number two, positive school culture. When students, teachers, and staff are committed, it fosters a culture built on trust, responsibility, and shared purpose. Everyone contributes to a supportive and goal-oriented environment. Three, consistency and follow-through. Commitment means doing what you say you will do, showing up, giving your best, and holding yourself accountable. These values create a dependable and respectful school atmosphere. And 4, resilience. Commitment builds perseverance. In the face of academic pressure or personal challenges, committed individuals don't give up. They push forward with purpose and determination. In short, commitment is the foundation of a thriving school. It drives student achievement, inspires staff dedication, and unites our community in a shared pursuit of excellence. This month, we are proud to recognize members of our school community who embody what it means to be committed. Our support staff for this month, there was a tie, so there are 2 people, and I don't know if they're here. But the first is April Alexander. April serves as the school nurse for both Edgewood Middle School and 96 High School. Yeah, there she is. I didn't see her. And is a proud 96 High School alumna. Nurse Alexander is truly committed to the well-being of our students and staff. Whether offering medical assistance or simply being a comforting presence, she approaches her role with care, honesty, and a great sense of humor. Her deep ties to 96 High School shine through in the stories she shares about her time as a student and her dedication to building new memories that honor the school's legacy. She blends nostalgia with forward thinking, care, helping shape both the health and the spirit of our school. Thank you. Ann Turner, affectionately known as Miss Ann, works in our cafeteria and brings warmth and positivity to everyone she serves. She is committed to making sure that every student and staff member receives not just a hot meal, but also a kind word to brighten their day. Her cheerful demeanor and consistent encouragement transform the cafeteria into more than just a place to eat. It becomes a space where everyone feels seen and supported. Ms. Ann's unwavering joy and commitment make her an essential part of our school family. Our teacher of the month is Coach Kevin Latham. Coach Kevin Latham teaches social studies at 96 High School and, like Nurse Alexander, is also an alumnus. His passion for teaching is evident the moment you step into his classroom. He keeps students engaged, sets high expectations, and provides regular opportunities for them to demonstrate their learning. Coach Latham is deeply committed to the success of his students and to the broader school community. Whether he's sharing his love of fishing or stepping in to help where needed, he consistently models positivity, teamwork, and professionalism. His dedication makes him not only an outstanding educator, but also a respected and valued colleague. He embodies our theme for the year, excellence, one team, one dream. Congratulations. You're welcome.
Okay. So next up is the 96 High School Marching Band Ring Ceremony.
I get to do that. I'm the sound man. Well, good evening, members of the board, Dr. Taylor, and members of the audience. We are here to celebrate the 2024 SCBDA 1A Marching Band State Champions, the Wildcat Marching Band. The band's 2024 competitive show was entitled Caged. The band members portrayed escaping from confinement through music, vocals, symbolism, and body visuals. This production came about because we were looking for a way to save money and repurpose the props we already had from last year's show, The Raven. We simply took the vinyls off of them and we have cages. I would like to take a moment and thank Mr. Torrey Reiser. He designed the show and arranged the music. He will be adding the talent of drill writer to his resume this coming year as he takes on that responsibility with us. Our entire competitive season was very successful. We challenged our members to compete in higher classifications in local competitions than we are classified. We're a 1A band, according to the state. This is a recap of our competitive season for this year. At the Mustang Classic, held at Midland Valley High School, we competed in Class 4A. We won Best Percussion. We received a superior rating with an 82.45, and we were third place. Band Beat, held at Catawba Ridge High School, we competed in Class 4A. We received the High Overall Effect Award with a score of 77.5, and we were rated third place for that competition. The Chesney Eagle Classic, held at Chesney High School, we competed in Class 8A. Now, that's just the biggest class of all the schools. We don't have really an 8A in state, okay? But when you go to local competitions, they try to divide the bands up according to size, and there's so many. There were, I think there were 23 or so bands at that competition, might have been 25. And so we competed in the highest classification against very large schools. We received the High Visual Score, the Best Soloist Award for our saxophones with a score of 88.475. We were first place in 8A. We were the Gold Division, which is the upper level division, champions, and we were the champions for the entire day of that particular contest. It was an incredible day for our Wildcats. The next week, we pushed on to a practice, and then we had our upper state prelims, which is known, upper state championships, held at Liberty High School. We competed in Class 1A, because we have to. We received a superior rating with a score of 89.3, and we were the upper state champions. We advanced on to state finals, also at Liberty High School, in 1A. We won the High Music Award, the High Visual Award, and the High Overall Effect Award with a superior rating of a score of 90.35, which will also be engraved inside their rings. We were the state champions, again. Some points of pride for our community. The Wildcat Marching Band has been the top 3 finalists since 2006. That is 19 years of receiving either a blue, a red, or a white medal. And that is a tremendous accomplishment for these students. We have won 15 upper state championships since 2006, and we have now earned 12 state championships, including the years 1973, 2006, 2009, 2013, 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, 23, and 24, making this a three-peat season for us. In the South Carolina Band Directors Association, 96 has the most 1A state champions of any 1A school in the state. We moved up. Last year I gave you this little points of pride, and we were tied for 4th place with Irmo and Brooklyn Casey, each having 11 championships. Well, we got the 12th. So now we're not tied for 4th anymore, we are 4th. So we would have been tied for 3rd had Burns not also won, because now they have 13 and we have 12. So right there at it, okay? Wando has 15 and Fort Mill has 24 championships. Quite an accomplishment. I want to thank our high school, middle school principals and our district administration for the support you offer to the band program. It's appreciated. Thank you to the parents, family members for your tremendous help. Our booster club is outstanding, and all the parents working in those committees make this go round. They really, really do. None of this is possible without the talented staff members we have. The level of success we enjoy cannot be achieved by one individual. I greatly appreciate all of you. I want to take a moment to wish one of our staff members the very best, as he will be leaving us to pursue a new, yet similar career path. Kendrickus Bowers, affectionately referred to as Dreek. has done a tremendous job as our music and visual instructor over the past 6 years. We have all benefited from your passion for the arts and your growth as a music educator and leader. I wish you the very best in life, and I thank you for your time with us here at 96. Finally, thank you to our members for trusting me and your staff to lead you. You put in a tremendous amount of time and work. Your level of accomplishment is some of the highest in the state. The 96 community is very proud of you. Congratulations, Wildcats, on your three-peat championship season. So at this time, we're going to issue some awards. In the packet will include a championship shirt, some memorabilia, car decals if they want. Well, that's in, if want it or not, it's in there. The calendar from the State House when we went to the State House and were recognized there in the House and Senate. There's a calendar in there with our published names and so forth in there for them to enjoy. And a copy of the news article from the Index Journal that was published on our behalf. So at this time, Mr. Bagwell will come forward, and the students, if you would rise and make your way down right here, and we will issue rings.
Drum major, Lauren Abels. Our flutes, Caitlin Bolliard. Sydney Griffin. Viana Vafae. Zoe Wood. Clarinets, Paisley Gunter. Zariah Harris. Skylar Pace. Saxophones, Ashton Dindy. Hudson Jabert. Weston Johnson. Cohen Mackle. Kendon Mathis. Aiden Willis. Trumpets, Melanie Adams. Montana Bailey. Brantley Cole. Jay Hamby. Xavier Lagrune. Hallie Platt. Mellophone, Jordan Smith. Baritones, Andrew Bird. Cullen Miller. Hatcher Rickett. Denia Walker. Tuba, Braden Pollard. Drumline, Kamari Abercrombie. Max Grant. Derek Hamby. Luke Harris. Christian Long. Rain Quarles. Molly Kate Schwartzentruber. Front ensemble, Tanner Brown. Ethan Hastings. Dylan Rivera. Corinne Stiles. Chris Taylor. Brick Wilson. Charlie Wilson. Kelly Wilson. Color guard, Emma Antone. Maggie Cogburn. Ava Collins. Anna Garrison. Caitlin Michalowski. Haley Miller. Shelby Mitchell. Ashley Pake. Caden Rowland. Manager, Jennifer Smith. And our staff, Cadence Abels, Joey Bagwell, Kendricus Bowers, Kevin Davis, Hampton Dudley, Stacy Lopez, Tori Reiser, Zay Sanders, David Vickery, Kendall Waters.
So at this time, I've asked them to not open their rings just yet. But now you can open your rings. Let's all give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
So next up on the agenda is the recognition of the EMS 2024-25 Junior Scholars.
Say off it, fix it to be a mass aces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh? I don't want them to. All right, we'll get going. Congratulations, band. With all that middle school, there's a lot of middle school students in that in that band. So I believe he's got a good chance to catch Burns if he'll stick around with it. So good job back there, Mr. Bagwell, too. But now we'd like to represent or recognize some of our students that have done some excellent academic work this year. They were recognized. These students here tonight are some of the brightest students that we have in our middle school. These students were selected as junior scholars based on their test scores on the PSAT that they took earlier this year. This is a very high honor for our students to achieve. They had to make a 550 on reading and a 530 on math to be classified as a junior scholar. So we have several of these that we would like to honor tonight. When I call your name, if you would come get your certificate and meet us over there by the Palmetto flag. First up, Aiden Walworth. Next, we have Lindsay Nichols. Next, we have Cohen Mackle. He went to celebrate with the band. He was so excited he got a ring. He didn't want a piece of paper. He was taking the ring. Macy Krajewski. Caroline Elrod. Bailey Cochran. And Gibson Bell. Up. Colin Mackey.
Yeah, we're going to. We have it on here. Yeah, he got to get his band ring.
So next up on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Dr. Beth Taylor.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Congratulations to our award winners and to Mr. Vickery and the band. How exciting. We do appreciate all you do and all the positive things you bring to the school and to our district. At this time, I'm asking our board members to look over the field trips, the professional leave, and the fundraisers. We do have one overnight field trip, and that is on page 5. Our Beta Club from the the elementary school. We have award winners that are going to go to, I believe, Orlando.
Yep.
We're asking for approval.
Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes.
All right, very good. And then we also have the parenting report. If you have any questions concerning the parenting report. We're good? All right, thank you very much.
Next on the agenda is finance, Mr. Andrew Mackey.
The man with the money.
It was a little more empty.
Yeah.
We'll get into the monthly financials through April 30th. The numbers in your packet are a little bit different. We got our April tax reports yesterday. In your packet, our revenue's about $11.9 million, but it's actually now picking up. That April tax revenue is at about $13.16 million. Our expenses through April are about $12.3 million. So that's a good sign. That's encouraging. Our expenses will continue. You know, as I've said before, we get our revenue in pieces until January, then we get a bunch of it all January, February, March, and then it sort of trickles down the rest of the way. So with the Fuji impact, hopefully our revenue can continue to stay over our expenses. But that revenue difference, if you look at that 5-year report, this time last year we had $14.86 million. And with our April taxes, like I said, we have about $13.1 million. And that main difference is last year we had almost $2.5 million from our fee in lieu of tax revenue. This year we have $826,000. So that's the Fuji impact right there, and you can see that reflected on that 5-year report. That being said, our expenses are still trending under budget from where we had them. So our administration and our principals are doing a good job staying within our budget and managing their expenses as best as possible. Last month, one of the board members, can't remember which one, asked about our cash balances. So you'll see the Fidelity account in there in that 5-year, or that in your board packet. We have $4.7 million in our Fidelity investments accounts. The LGIT, the local government investment pool, it's essentially a bank account that the state manages. We had $1.2 million in our LGIP account, and then at the county, as of April 30th, we had $2.1 million. So all told, at the end of April, we had about $8 million in cash. So cash flow is not an issue with Fuji as yet. So we'll continue to monitor that as well. But we have a strong cash position, so that is not a concern. Are there any questions on the monthly financials? Okay. Capital projects, we got a lot done last meeting that I went over, so a pretty brief capital projects update. Our track resurfacing is starting May 19th, as soon as the track season's over. It's projected to take about 2 weeks, so it should be done in plenty of time for the start of the next school year. And then our classroom furniture at our primary school and elementary school, we are still trying to figure that out. The budget number we planned for, we discussed about how much it would cost to fully equip a classroom, and we were told about $10,000 per classroom. Once we got the quote back, it was over $20,000 per classroom, so a significant difference from where we had budgeted it. So we've sort of tried to scale it back and are planning to attempt to do it in phases. Phase 1 is we're going to try to get student desks and chairs replaced in all our classrooms. So we're still working on the quotes and the financing for that, but that's sort of our plan right now after getting a quote much higher than we expected. And then, we talked about bleachers at the track last meeting. If you see the bleachers at the multiplex at the soccer field, those cost $13,700. So if that's something we wanted to upgrade at the track, that would be the cost. So we can include that in our bond financing. We just need a board amendment to include that in our capital project for our 2024 bonds. And that's the.
We can just add that to the bond, so we won't
we just
be
have to
cutting
add it to
anything?
the project list for that the bond we issued back in October, November, whenever it was. We had the project list that had all the access controls, the cameras, the track.
Yeah.
I can't remember what else, but the track came in under budget, so we do have some funds to work with there. So if you wanted to add those bleachers to it, we would just need a motion to include that on the project list. Yeah.
A motion to amend the bond.
Yeah.
A second.
Yeah, I'll make the motion, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, London second.
I'm second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Yep. We'll get working
Just for
on
our
it.
information, how much it was under, the track was pretty good bit under. What was
Yeah,
the
we
difference?
had gotten sort of a budget quote of like $279,000, I believe, and the low bid that we got was about $144,000.
So we have quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if anything else comes up, project-wise that we need, we can bring that to you guys, or if you guys have some ideas on some capital projects, we can make a motion.
Why are you smiling?
I'm smiling because you're smiling, Jay. We can make a motion to add that to the project list and utilize some of those additional funds.
So the bleachers, that's all you need is pretty much to put the bleachers there? They don't have to be on concrete or anything, or that, or?
Different bleachers, some do require a concrete
several
pad.
things that I can
It
think of
depends
right now.
somewhat on
Bleachers at the softball
the
field, bleachers at
the
the
ground they're going on. If it's a flat level ground, they're good without a concrete pad. So we might have to put a concrete pad out there depending on those bleachers and where we want to put them. But that'll just be incorporated with the cost of those bleachers.
So how much, what funds do we have kind of remaining? And is it a good idea to utilize those? And what can and can't they be used for?
So bond funds, you're supposed to use them within 3 years of the bond issuance. So we did that in November of '24, so we, in theory, need to spend it all by November of 2027. And it has to be on capital projects. So it has to be on buildings, building improvements, large equipment, vehicles, anything that has, it's a bit of a gray area, but it's really anything that has a useful life longer than 1 year that adds value. So, like paint, right? You can paint the walls of a building, that's very expensive, but does that really add value to your building? You know, so there is a gray area there, but it has to be a capital project. We can't use it on salary, supplies, consumables, things you use up in a year. It has to be a...
And so therefore, is it that to be just the schools, or can it be multiplex or wherever? Or
Yeah, just
okay.
any district property, yeah.
Okay. Could you, at some point, let us know those figures? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'll get a
You don't have to do it
exact,
today. I mean, just whenever. We got 2.5 years or a year and a half left or whatever.
And I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Has it ever been discussed having the digital marquees for the other schools?
It has. Yeah, that's been requested many times.
I'm sure,
by
because
those two back there.
when my girls were in school, we were raising money for digital.
Yeah, so that's one of the things.
So where are we with that? Or
It's on our capital project list, and that would have been something that we would consider on a future bond issuance. But because we are so under budget with some of our projects on this existing one, that is something that we could add to utilize some of this money.
I guess that's more important than air conditioning bleachers.
I'm going to tell you an estimated number in just a second.
Video board.
Titantron.
We also need to update the complex, the middle school and high school. I believe the marquee needs some help.
One of them's out, right?
So right,
Some of them is-
Yeah.
right now, Adam, we have $630,000 remaining in that bond issuance. So then if we back out, $13,000 to $15,000 for bleachers, we're still over $600,000.
Okay. But you said that needs to be potentially utilized by November of 27.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it will, you cannot, so it's reimbursement basis. We have to spend the money first, and then we request it from the county. But the county does have it invested typically in their local government investment pool, so it's earning interest at about 4%. So that number will grow over time.
Yeah.
Could it be used to finish out the classroom furniture?
It could, yeah. If we wanted to use it all for classroom furniture, we could definitely do that. We were just looking to phase it to where we have some more flexibility for some other projects that might come up. But I mean, if we get down the line and there's still money available, we can go ahead and do more furniture if we choose to.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'll fine tune those numbers a little bit more, and we can come for next month, talk about capital projects. Like, I have a marquee price, I think, quote somewhere that I can pull together. So if that's something we wanted to add, I can bring some of those numbers next month.
Has it been the cost that has kept that from happening? Do you, pretty much?
Pretty much, yeah. It's, Kelly, do you know what it would cost? You've looked before, right? 30 to 35,000 for a digital marquee.
Per school.
And then I believe the high school marquee might need some repairs. Of course. So we could look at that too, if all of the ones need to be replaced.
Yeah.
We can get cost, and you typically get a little bit of a discount the larger the project is. So we'll definitely look at those numbers because that has been a recurring request for several years.
Very much needed, I think.
All right, if there's no other questions on capital projects, I'll move on to the first reading of the budget. Jennifer, can you turn the screen a little bit?
Vanna. Turn the letter, Vanna. Oh.
A little bit more. Until Adam can see it.
Adam cannot see
Adam's in
that.
the wrong.
Y'all always put the TV on the right-hand side so I can't see.
Well, I sat in your seat earlier, and me and Bob messed with it, so
Thank you.
it can be seen. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll get right into the first reading of the budget. It's changed a little bit from our workshop last month, but not a whole lot. We'll get right into the revenue side of things. Our state budget allocation. The state budget is putting in a $1,500 increase for each step of the teacher salary scale. That's sort of the number they've come up with to decide what their total state budget for education is that $1,500 increase per teacher. For us, that works out to be about $6.8 million. It's a little bit more than what we were allocated for the current fiscal year. 4.9 million of that is the state aid to classrooms from their general fund, a little over $1 million in the state aid to classrooms EIA, and then $650,000 for retiree insurance and $209,000 for health insurance. Now, those state aid to classroom lines, those are the ones that are in the news all the time that you hear about, the House and Senate deciding how much money to put into education. That's those two line items. The retiree insurance and health insurance are based on actual payroll figures. So the state doesn't decide how much, that's driven by our payroll, but those state aid to classroom lines are what have been the topic of conversation here recently. I don't know if you've seen on the news, several school districts have had meetings and discussions and complaints about how that money is allocated. There's a lot of moving pieces to this funding formula, but the main issue that has come up is with the weightings. This is actually not a new issue with the weightings that people discovered, but because the State Department is only, not the State Department, the legislation is only putting $112 million of additional funds into education this year, which is $80 million less than what they did last year. And the year before that was like $340 million additional funding. So they're funding education less, which is magnifying some of these issues. with the weightings, the way it's weighted, charter schools get a disproportionate share of the new funding. This year, well, back up one step. The weightings, I've mentioned before that charter schools are weighted 1.25 for a brick and mortar student and 0.65 for a virtual student. It has actually come out, there was some fine print way down in their proviso that those were actually add-on weightings. So a brick and mortar charter school student gets counted the base 1 plus the 1.25. So they're actually counted at a 2.25 in the weightings, whereas we only get the one base weighting.
So they're weighted higher than our public school kids are.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so. And a virtual kid who, just needs a computer is weighted at 1.65.
So the legislatures complain that where we're ranked at in education, but they're not gonna give us the money to help fund to correct the problem. I can say that, okay?
Yes.
Continue.
And so because of those weightings, charter schools were getting like 49% of that $112 million of additional funds, and traditional schools were only getting about 54%. The charter school student population is only about 7% of the state. So 7% of the student population was getting about 49% of the additional funding. The State Department, through some of this lobbying and complaining by traditional school districts, they did change the weightings for virtual charter schools. They knocked it down from 0.65 to 0.35. So they say that with that change, the percentage split will go back to about a 75-25 percentage split, which is what it's been each year of this funding formula. So all that to say, there are issues with this funding formula, but we can't do much about it until the State Department or the state legislation decides to change that funding formula, which they put in the proviso that they're going to review the weightings and review the formula. So there may be some changes in the future, but for now, we'll just deal with the cards we're dealt. Another issue with the funding formula is that it's based on a proportionate share. Before they had this funding formula, everything was allocated based on a base student cost. So if your average daily membership went up by 10 kids, you took 10 times the base student cost and you were going to get that much additional funding. Vice versa, if you lost 10 kids, you knew exactly what you were going to lose. So it was much easier to budget for and plan for. But now they just do it based on essentially a percentage, where you have 6% of the student population, you get 6% of the money. But they adjust it at the 45-day count and the 135-day count. So your percentage will change with those adjustments. So you might get more students but lose money if the denominator grew faster than the numerator, if you're following, if you understand math. So for us, what that looks like is that on average, over the last 3 years of this funding formula, what we actually receive is about $180,000 less than what we're initially projected to receive. The first year of the formula, we actually got $318,000 less than the initial allocation. Last year, it ended up being about a $158,000 decrease. And this year, it's starting to level off. We're only about a $60,000 decrease from what they told us during the budget last year. That first year of the funding formula, we budgeted exactly what the state said we were going to get on our allocation. We quickly learned that that was not the best idea, so we've actually budgeted less than that state allocation says we're going to receive, to the point where both last fiscal year and the current fiscal year, our actual revenue is more than what we've budgeted for our state allocation. So for the upcoming fiscal year, for that aid to classrooms allocation, the state's saying we're going to get $5.9 million. And I've just backed out that 3-year average. So I've only budgeted the $5.74 million for aid to classrooms. If it continues to level off, as it has this year, we should actually receive more money than we've got budgeted. Because as you can see, the trend line is going down from 318,000 to 59,000. But just to be conservative, we'll take that average and hope we've hit the mark. So here's a graph of what it, graphically, my presentation's getting a little fancier. The green bar is our initial allocation, the blue bar is what we budgeted, and the yellow bar is what we've actually received. You may be wondering why we budgeted so less for this current fiscal year. We were just trying to prepare for that 2023. We didn't want to be caught expecting too much. So that's why we budgeted so much less, because we were trying to prepare for that potential in that 2023 when the actual was so much less. Are there any questions on the state allocation funding formula? Okay. Our local revenue hasn't changed at all from where we discussed last month. We're getting about $3.7 million from our operating millages, $1 million from our manufacturing reimbursement, $776,000 from the Lake Greenwood Development Zone, $654,000 from our fee in lieu of tax revenue, and that is backing out anything we might receive from Ascend. So the initial county projections we got still had Ascend included in there. I just took exactly what we received last year from them and backed that off our budget. We will probably receive a little bit still from Ascend because they operated for a few months in the calendar year. But just again, to be conservative with our revenue, I just went ahead and backed out that whole amount. So we might get some from Ascend to bump that number up on our actual receipts. But again, just being conservative. So our total local revenue is just a shade under $6.4 million. And then our other revenue line items is the property tax reimbursements, the penny sales tax from the state, $270,000 for the tier 1, $244,000 from the tier 2, and then the $2.3 million from tier 3, which is the Act 388, which is the penny sales tax that replaces tax on your primary residence. And then about $70,000 from out-of-district students. So our total initial budgeted revenue is right around $16 million. That's about $1 million less than our budget for this current year. And again, that's really the $1.4 million loss from Fuji and Ascend. We budgeted $2 million in change in our fee in lieu money last year, and the budget for this year is $645,000. So I mean, that's what's hitting us. There are issues with the state funding formula. It's hard to budget for. We do the best we can, but our issues really come from our local revenue. So to balance our budget, quote unquote, will require a transfer from our fund balance budgeted at about $1.47 million. And then hopefully starting next year when we start receiving some money from 2026, 2027 school year is when we'll start receiving some money from Teijin and the ES Foundry. Hopefully we'll start to fill in those gaps. Our expenditures are right about $17.5 million. The majority of that, $13.3 million, is salaries and benefits. That's actually less than what we've budgeted for this year, by about $100,000. And that comes from, when we've had some attrition, some vacancies open up, we've looked at those and really done our due diligence to see if that's a position we can absorb. And so we've actually saved some money by rescheduling some things and looking at our enrollment and determining what we need and where. So our administration has done a really good job. trying to save some money there. We have the $1,500 increase for all teachers and all staff. So we've increased, every staff member is budgeted right now to receive a step increase on their salary scale, and each of those steps will increase by the $1,500. And as I mentioned, that we're paying our employees more, but our budget is less because we've filled some of those, we've absorbed some of those vacancies through our enrollment numbers and our scheduling.
So we're budgeting for $1,500 the step, but that's for every employee?
Every employee, certified, classified. Bus drivers will actually get 2%, but that's dictated by the state.
Right.
But yeah, every staff member will get a step increase and additional money on each step. And then our other expenditures are about $4.3 million. Most of that's utilities, maintenance costs. Our BUD group had a cost of living adjustment. So what that looks like on paper, you of course can't read that. So as I mentioned, revenue of $17,546,278. That includes the $1.4 million in change in transfer fund balance. Our expenditures match $17,546,278. I've also included all our salary schedules in our board packet. So our lowest teaching salary, step 0 on the bachelor scale, will be $48,500. That is the state minimum for a starting teacher. If you recall last year, the State Department increased the minimum salary scale by varying percentages. You know, the lower steps were getting like 8, 9, 10% increase, and the higher steps on the master's scales were getting like a 0.5 percentage point. So we had to just match the minimum salary on some of those lower steps, but once you get to that bachelor plus 18 scale and higher, we're above the minimum on all those steps. And I've also included, all our salary schedules and our proposed athletic and extracurricular supplements for the upcoming school year. I won't read through every single line item, but if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
On the supplements, I do.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're budgeting for everybody to get $1,500 increase, but with us being at a shortfall already, and I know Dr. Taylor sent us the comparison for this fiscal year and next fiscal year, but is there any other like contract days and stuff? I know there's different things that we do on that, and I guess what I'm saying is, do we give the extra days, or do we wait and give the extra days whenever we are not at a $1.4 million deficit in the budget? I mean, it doesn't account to that much money, but maybe that's something that the board really just needs to think about, because to be honest, I mean, everybody is appreciative of what each person does, extracurricular, whatever. But we need to make sure that the morale of our employees stays high, and if there's something that we can do to maybe delay that, or wait until the next year, maybe 26, 27, and look at it, that's just my opinion. So, because I myself would much rather see us give all of our employees a retention bonus and not necessarily give a select few extra contract days, which is going to equal to more money, or increase in stipends, but that's my opinion.
Some of those contract days are in response to what neighboring school districts are doing. And so it's more of trying to be competitive with the area around us. And so that's where that came from. It did not just like more, we're comparing all of the different districts around us so that we don't lose a person to them. And that's where that information.
Well, I don't want us to get into the position that we have been in the past where there were no stipends given to anybody other than coaches and stuff, you know, because, and when you came on board, you know, you brought that back, which is great, and that we could do that. And I don't want to get in a position where we're having to cut days off of contracts either, so, as far as extracurricular stuff. So.
Right.
We just don't want to be in that spot. And I think our district's been in that spot before, and we definitely don't want to be there again. Yeah.
Other comments or questions?
Now, Jay, I'm trying to understand your question or. what-
Comment?
Comment.
Yeah. So basically, if we agree, and this is just the first reading of the budget, so we'll actually approve it next month, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So if we've got, a teaching contract is 190 days. And so if there's a coaching supplement, whatever the supplement, not just coaching, whatever, the extracurricular stuff, so they get paid an additional number of days to be the coach, just so to speak. And so with increase in days, they'll get paid more because it'll be a per day average. And so my thing is, if there's folks that's having their days increased, then we need to make sure that we have enough to offset, not necessarily offset, but to make sure every employee gets a quote unquote retention bonus. So like last year we did $300. I think it was around Christmas time.
Yeah.
And so I just want to make sure that if we do agree to approve the stipend increases or the days that are being added, that we have enough to take care of all of our employees.
Everyone, yeah, consistency.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I've been part of an organization that you see the upper management get raises and nobody else did, and that just takes your morale and, you know, it just washes it down the drain. So that's what we don't want to get into.
I know that the last 3 years, if we've given anybody a retention bonus or any kind of bonus, we've been consistent with not just the certified teachers, where some of the districts around us have done just the certified teacher, but we've done all of our employees.
Yeah, and that's what I want to make sure that we can still do.
We don't
that.
want to lose that.
Because I mean, we know we're already roughly 1.4 million in deficit. But at the same time, we've got the money to take care of that deficit. But I want to make sure that we can take care of our employees.
And I can go through for next month and look at the additional days that are added on these supplements and can sort of run some different scenarios and compare and contrast for if we want to do a retention bonus, how much that would cost, how much this is adding, and I can present that next month.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see that because I mean that's something that we've done, and I think that's something that we need to continue to do. Is just look out for our people. So, because they're the ones that make us, you know what I mean? So, I don't want them mad at us, and I'm up for re-election.
It's kind of election day.
Yeah.
Well, and we don't want to lose our good staff. I mean, we
That's
don't
right.
want to lose employees.
That's right, and they're coming after them too. I mean,
Good employees, yes, they are.
they're coming after them hard.
Yeah,
We want to make sure we keep the good people that we got.
absolutely.
Definitely.
And so, and to that point, you know, we are with this budget, we are going above and beyond. You know, the state's saying the $1,500 for certified teachers. We're giving that to everybody.
Yeah.
The State Department is, or the legislation. I keep saying the wrong thing. They're actually trying to phase out the bachelor plus 18 scale. To where they just fund the bachelor's, master's plus 30, and doctorate scale. So in trying to phase that out, they've actually only funded the Bachelor's Plus 18 scale to $1,000 increase on that minimum. We're giving those teachers the $1,500 as well.
Yeah.
So we are, we discussed this during the workshop, and you guys quickly said, no, give it to everybody. So you guys are, collaboratively, we are taking care of our staff above and beyond the quote-unquote requirements.
Well, and I think, the things we look at too, as far as Fuji, they're, I think just about every building that they have is full. And so we'll be getting that tax money, within a couple of years.
That's
So
right.
If we can make it through next year and in the next year.
And actually, I failed to mention that with the local revenue, Velux and Eaton and some of those companies, ES Foundry, I know they're starting 26, 27, but Velux and Eaton, some of those ones that have had operations, they will file some sort of tax return. So we will get some kind of money from that. Nobody really knows what or how much.
And of course, you can't count on that until you get it. So
yeah,
you kind of got a budget without knowing.
Yeah, so I budgeted nothing for that. One, because I have no idea what to budget, and two, we'll just wait, be conservative again.
Yeah. But I think I appreciate our administrators and our principals and everybody that, saving as much money as they can, so.
Well, we actually went and visited ES Foundry. Ms. Loudon, Andrew, and myself went out and visited and did a walkthrough. Met the, I guess is he the plant manager?
Yeah.
And spent some time with him. They were very open. They had done a lot of interaction with Dane Pruitt, so they were familiar with 96, very positive. And they were having, at the time, a recruitment fair right in the lobby while we walked through it. And they're hoping to get 600 employees. So
and
it is moving, and they are very excited about what's going on in that building. So.
And Lionel, their manager, did mention, some of their out-of-town staff had talked about schools and what they were going to do. So we put together a flyer. Jonathan put together a flyer for us. We sent that to them with the hopes that they'll put that in the hands of any recruit or potential new hire they have. So hopefully we'll get some, not only some tax revenue, but some enrollment from them as well.
Good deal.
All right.
There's no other questions.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
The next on the budget's safety, Mr. McBoudreau.
All righty. Y'all's package, you have the monthly report for April. Primary had 0, elementary had 1 with an information report. Edgewood had 1 with a fire alarm. Texas High School had two separate alarms, 1 fire, 1 bank. The bank alarm went off. Alternative 0, transportation had 2, vehicle collision and a stop arm violation. The high school baseball field, 0. The athletic multiplex had 2, that was an open doors. District office had 1 with a trespassing notice. The totals for that month are 9. That is up 3 from 6 last month and up 2 from 7 this time last year. All the schools did their monthly fire drills. You have the dates right there on the sheet. Fire inspections were also done. We didn't have any tornado drills, any earthquake or bus evacuation drills. All the schools did their active intruder drills, which I believe were the last ones for the year. Then the high school, middle school, high school did their weapons detections, both in the car line and the bus line. And both middle school, high school did their canine detections. And that's it. Any questions?
That's great, thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
So next up is personnel, Ms. Kathy Anderson.
Thank you. I bring before you tonight 2 recommendations, candidate A and candidate B, for you to consider. Candidate A is the recommendation for the 96 high school AD. As you all know, BJ Wertz resigned his AD position effective June 30th. And so we actively look for a replacement for him. A committee was put together, comprised of a board member, Ms. London Thomas was on that committee, and some other folks, and they came up with this person, candidate A, as a recommendation. Candidate B replaces Teresa Blackwell. Ms. Blackwell has resigned as part-time assistant principal and from the high school. So candidate B is the part-time assistant principal, part-time sped ed teacher recommendation for that particular job. Okay? So I'm looking for a recommendation or a motion to hire candidate A and candidate B.
Make a motion, hire candidate B.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The board has hired Chase Duncan as athletic director at 96 High School and Mark Davis as part-time assistant principal and sped ed teacher at 96 High School. Now, let me give you just a brief update of what the jobs that we have open are still out there. We have a high school science position, and we've not had any luck finding high school science. So Mr. Sproul has a plan to kind of absorb those kids with the other certified science teachers that he has. So I don't think you will miss a beat with science. I think that, if we find somebody that will help Mr. Sproul, but if we don't, he can kind of take care of that internally. Mr. Shumpert has an RTI teacher that's out there, ELA, middle level. We've not had a lot of luck with that either. We passed May the 10th, and we pretty much have what we have. And so at this point in time, we're going to leave those two jobs open. Mr. Shumpert has a plan to kind of work that internally too, so that hopefully kids will still get the services that they need. We have a high-vac technician position that's open, and we plan to begin interviews next week for that. David Roark and I will work together to interview those. We have 4 interviews set up for next week. So hopefully we'll have that person in place by the time Mr. Tony Black leaves on June the 30th. He's going to retire. Okay? And so that's all the jobs that we have left pending, and that's the plan to either fill or not fill those positions. Are there any questions that you have of me? Thank you for your continued support.
Thank you.
So next on the agenda is an executive session. We'll be going into for discussion of the superintendent's evaluation. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I make a motion, we go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Library.
Yes.
Bathroom, then library.
Are you getting Greenwood? Thank you.
Trying to
3-0.
3-0, Greenwood.
Yep.
Well.